Top 10 poisonous plants that can kill you. Imagine the world plantless. The world we know would be plain, hot, and shadeless. Plants are an essential part of our world. They are considered pipes of the atmosphere. They are very efficient in cleansing the air we breathe and providing our necessities, plus, they give beauty to our surroundings. There are about 320,000 species of plants in the world. Some produce seeds, some climb, some are big, some are small, and some are sturdy, and some are delicate. Without them, our world will turn into a dry desert, and of course, none of us can survive as well as the animals and other creatures. But did you know that not all plants are safe for humans and animals? Some plants look innocently beautiful in our sight, but touching them or getting near them could be fatal. These poisonous plants became part of the history. Some of the well-known personalities before were executed by these harmless-looking plants. Example of this was the Greek philosopher Socrates, Spanish politician Juan Ponce de Leon, Athenian politician Demosthenes, Pope Clement VII, the Holy Roman Emperor Charles VI, Prince of Armenia Constantine II, German composer Johann Schubert, son of Emperor Tiberius Drusus, Julius Caesar, and more. You see, these poisonous plants are no joke. They can literally kill us. Before we reveal our countdown, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell. And if you want to save your life against these poisonous plants, keep watching and take notes. In today's video, we will share with you the top 10 poisonous plants that can kill you. Starting our countdown is our number 10, Cicuta maculata or water hemlock. These plants are a close family of the hemlock that killed Socrates. If you wonder how poisonous they are, well, you'll be shocked to know that they are hailed as North America's most violently toxic plant. They are infused with deadly cicutoxin, especially its roots. They are mostly confused as edible plants because they resemble the Queen Anne's lace. They also look like parsnips or celery. If you happen to eat this, you will experience painful convulsions, nausea, abdominal cramps, and death. Those who are lucky to survive aren't that lucky because they are not safe with the side effect of these plants, which is tremors or amnesia. Responsible for the death of Abraham Lincoln's mother is our number 9, the white snakeroot. This poisonous plant can be found in North America. They are herb with flat-topped clusters of flowerets and thus contain a toxic alcohol as trematol. Nancy Hanks, Abraham's mother, did not directly consume this plant but because of the cow's milk. But how can someone die drinking cow's milk? The answer is the food of the cow. The poor cow has mistaken the white snakeroot as delicious grass. After eating it, its milk and meat was contaminated with trematol. This incident taught the farmers to become cautious with the life-threatening hazard brought by these plants. From then, they make an effort to terminate these plants from farms and pastures. Nancy Hanks, Abraham's mother, did not directly consume this plant but because of the cow's milk. But how can someone die drinking cow's milk? The answer is the food of the cow. The poor cow has mistaken the white snakeroot as delicious grass. After eating it, its milk and meat was contaminated with trematol. This incident taught the farmers to become cautious with the life-threatening hazard brought by these plants. From then, they make an effort to terminate these plants from farms and pastures. But if you happen to drink the milk or eat the contaminated meat, you will feel weak, lose your appetite, nausea, your tongue will turn red, feel the discomfort in your abdomen, there will be an abnormal acidity in your blood, then the worst part is death. Camouflaging on number 8 is the Atropa belladonna or deadly nightshade. Many people have mistaken this as an alluring sweet berries. If you are not aware of its deadly toxins like atropine and scopolamine in its stems, leaves, berries, and roots, you will probably be encouraged to eat its delicious-looking berries. Based on the legend, the soldiers of Macbeth poisoned the Danes with the deadly sweet fruit of the nightshade by turning it into a wine. The unsuspecting Danes drank the wine and died after. Until now, people die especially the children who mistaken this as sweet berries in Central and Southern Eurasia. They have shiny black berries that are the same as the size of a cherry and dull green leaves. It is not just berries that are poisonous, but also its leaves, roots, and stems. If you happen to touch the leaves, it will cause you skin irritation. If you are unlucky and ingested the other parts, they will cause paralysis in your involuntary muscles and can make your heart stop, which will cause your death. Hanging on number 7 is the Avarice precatorius or rosary pea. These poisonous plants are mostly seen in tropical areas. They are named as rosary pea for obvious reasons because they are being used to make prayer rosaries. But they are not just for rosaries. They are also being used in pieces of jewelry. That is why they are also called security beans. How can these holy-looking plants be poisonous? It's because of the deadly ribosome inhibiting protein or abrin that can be found in the seeds of these plants. You can hold the seeds, but once they are scratched, chewed, or split into two, they can be your worst nightmare. If you think breaking one seed is okay, don't be so sure, because one seed contains 3 micrograms of abrin and is enough to make you stop breathing. Poor jewelry makers can't escape from its deadly poison. Many of them died while working because of accidental pricking of their fingers. Terrorizing on number 6 is the Ricinus communis or castor bean. This poisonous plant was once used to assassinate the journalist Georgy Markov in 1978, who spoke ill against the Bulgarian government. This also served as death threats in several US politicians by the terrorist groups who failed in their attempt. Accidental ingestion of this can take your life in an instant. But what makes this plant poisonous? The answer is the seeds. Each seed inhibits ricin, which can cause seizures, severe diarrhea, severe vomiting, and death. It will only take 2 seeds of this to kill a child and 8 seeds for an adult. Yikes! These shouldn't be planted near the house so children or anyone in the house can be safe. Striking on number 5 is the Nerium oleander or oleander. These poisonous plants are commonly planted in gardens as an ornament because of its striking beauty. However, you should think twice before planting this at home because all of its parts are poisonous and deadly. What makes this beautiful plant poisonous? Because it contains oleandrin and nerin, which makes a perfect combination for lethal cardiac glycosides. If you touch the leaves or its sap, you'll be irritated. But if you accidentally put it inside your mouth, you will experience seizures, diarrhea, abnormal pulse, comatose, and death. You can become ill once you taste the honey of the bees who landed on the flowers of oleander. Visiting the flowers will cause them to carry the toxin back to their colony and thus contaminate the honey. If you're wondering how these flowers taste, a survivor described it as very bitter. I don't think you want to mess with these plants. Growing at number 4 is the Dieffenbachia. Did you know that with just brushing against it can cause you an irritation, a feeling of burning or itching? And worst, if accidentally ingested these poisonous plants, it can make your airway swell until it closes and of course, you'll die eventually. These poisonous plants that are called a dumb cane or elephant ear have been one of the causes of death of the people in America. Blooming at number 3 is the Rhododendron and Azalea. You didn't know, but you've probably taken pictures of these beautiful flowers. But just so you know, behind their beauty is a deadly toxin that is all over their parts. They are highly toxic and can be fatal to anyone. If you accidentally put this in your mouth, be it the stem, flower, or leaf, you will start feeling the pain in your abdomen followed by difficulty in breathing. Next would be paralysis, then coma. Worst would be death. So before you take your selfies with these beautiful flowers, don't forget that they are poisonous. 1 meter distance or 6 feet below the ground, you choose. Growing at number 4 is the Dieffenbachia. Did you know that with just brushing against it can cause you an irritation, a feeling of burning or itching? And worst, if accidentally ingested these poisonous plants, It can make your airway swell until it closes, and of course, you'll die eventually. Picking on number 2 is the English yew or European yew. We are not talking about yew here. Its name is really English yew. This poisonous plant applies the saying, "Not all sweet are sugar. Some are poison." The entire part of English yew is poisonous, but the seeds are the ones you should be careful with the most. Accidental ingestion of any of its parts can cause you to have severe convulsion, paralysis, and it can make your heart stop beating. But the good news is, there is one tasty part that isn't poisonous, the deliciously looking red flesh. But don't bite or swallow the seeds because, again, it's the most poisonous part. People who commit suicide simply swallow a leaf or seeds which contain the toxic called taxan. Sometimes, they don't show the said symptoms. They just die a few hours after swallowing the seeds or leaves. So be careful eating the flesh and don't read or listen to jokes while eating those if you don't want to have your last laugh. Some of you may have seen these poisonous plants from number 10 to number 2, but we didn't know that they can be that dangerous. But is there more poisonous than those we have presented to you? Of course! Our number 1 is so dangerous that you can't even stand next to it or under it. Standing still on our number 1 is the Manchuria. We grew up watching fairy tales and we saw how the evil forces hindered the main characters in achieving their happily ever after. One of the fairy tale stories that we love is Snow White, who ate the poison apple and was put to sleep cursed until the Prince Charming came and resurrected her. But what if we tell you that the poison apple does exist in real life? But the problem is, no Prince Charming can wake you up in its curse. The Manchuria produces this sort of apple, but it's not just its fruit that is dangerous, but most of its part. If you find yourself under this poisonous Manchuria, the milky sap that it produces can give you severe rashes, while its leaves can give you a scalded skin. But death will find you if you eat its fruit. Just so you know, Manchuria means little apple of death. No matter how inviting the fruit is, don't take a bite. According to a report, people who tried eating it suffered from diarrhea, vomiting, and seizures for a week before dying in organ failure. If you think burning this tree will remove you to the equation of death, sad to say that it's a very bad idea. While burning the tree, the smoke it will produce can give a temporary loss of sight, meaning you'll be blind in an instant, plus you'll experience difficulty in breathing. So, if there's a plant that you should avoid, it's this one. Though these plants are poisonous in nature, sure they exist for a different purpose. We might not know it now, but in future, we can count on them. Maybe in medicine or cure for illness. Who knows, right? But for now, let's leave them alone and leave them to the experts. Which of these poisonous plants have you encountered? Or did you happen to see in your backyard? We'd love to see your answer in our comment section below. If you find this video informative, do give us a thumbs up. This has been our countdown for top 10 poisonous plants that can kill you. Join us again next time for more interesting videos. Ciao!